I'm Tim Barkley with Charleston Home and Design Magazine here on Daniel Island, talking with Tim Smith with Windward Shutters. How you doing, Tim?
I'm good, Tim. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you. Appreciate you having us out here to your project. And why don't you give our listeners, viewers, and readers kind of an overview of what this project is all about?
Okay. Yeah, my pleasure. This house was built by John Whelan Homes. We've been doing work with them now for about 4 years. We have installed some operable decorative colonials on the elevations that face the streets. It's a corner lot, so there's windows on the front of the house and the side of the house that faces this other street that has colonials on it, and then each window is protected by a fabric hurricane panel, which is, meets all the requirements for the international building codes.
Gotcha. Tell our listeners, viewers, and readers about Windward Shutters in general.
Okay. Yeah, I started Windward Shutters in late 1996, so we're working on about 15 years in business. Just started just me doing installation and sales, and then eventually became, more people. At our largest point, we were about 36 employees in 2006, and with the housing market downturn and the economy, we had to downsize the company. But I'm very proud that we are coming out on the other side of this thing, and we're stronger for it. I've definitely, learned a lot more about running a business than I, learned at college, my college Charleston business days from this last 3 years of the this recession, for sure.
So Windward Shutters started in 1986, is that right? 96. Okay. Were you here in Charleston for Hugo?
No, I wasn't. My wife is from Charleston, and she was living here then on James Island. I actually came to Charleston a year after that to start as a freshman at College Charleston.
But
in 1990.
Okay, and but of course you've heard all the stories about the folks that were here for Hurricane Hugo. Why is it important to have hurricane protection on a home, whether it's new construction or an existing home?
Yeah, that's a good question. The most important thing is protecting the building envelope, protecting the windows and doors from flying debris. Because the debris is what breaks the glass, which is what causes the wind to get inside the house and create lift on the roof and push out on the walls. If you can keep the windows and doors from breaking, then you can keep keep the wind from getting inside the house. A lot of people think, well, if we, why do I want to put shutters on the windows if the roof's just going to blow off? Well, the roof is much more likely to come off from the inside. So once that lift is created on the inside, then the roof's coming off, and the structure is going to get jeopardized, and it's going to be destroyed. There's a lot of mitigating improvements with the new codes that came into effect in 2005 that help prevent those. Everything from the top of the roof down to the foundation. The goal when building a house now is if picture a giant picking that house up and turning it upside down, it would hold together. It used to be that there was a lot of gravity involved holding a house together. Well, gravity is not as powerful a force as a 200-mile gust of wind. So that house is tied together now from the peak of the roof to the foundation.
Insurance rates are always seems like they do rise every year, and what can a homeowner expect in terms of a discount if there is hurricane protection on the house?
The discount that was the legislation for the 2007 Omnibus Coastal Property Reform Act, that's a mouthful, but the legislation requires insurance companies, I believe it's from 1% to 3%, but when you combine that with some of the other discounts, like for instance having hurricane ties, which if your house was built since 1990 you should have on your home, roof shape, fastener spacing on your roof, combined, I've seen many homeowners that I've done inspections for get up to 10% off on their insurance, and in some cases there are insurance companies out there that will not insure you unless you have some form of hurricane protection on the house.
Gotcha. And what kind of codes exist to here in the Charleston area as far as hurricane protection, and do those codes apply to folks that are already living in a house, not new construction?
The new construction part of it is, as far as the windborne debris, basically everything on this side, for the Charleston area, everything on this side of Summerville to the coast for new construction requires windborne debris protection. They offer either 7/16 OSB or half-inch plywood as an alternative. It's an exemption to the code. It creates a lot of confusion. A lot of people think that half-inch plywood or that 7/16 OSB meets the same standards, and that's simply not the case. It's just offered as an exemption to the code to try and make it more affordable. It likely at some point in the future will be discontinued as far as an exemption. You'll have to have either some form of hurricane shutters or impact glass.
It's not required if you have an existing home to have hurricane protection.
If you do a renovation a renovation that is greater than 50% of the value of the home, then you do have to bring it up to the new codes. But if it's less than 50%, then no, you don't have. It's not required.
Tell us about the hurricane protection systems that are on this house. What are the advantages and so forth?
Okay, well the hurricane rated Colonial Shutters, where you have they're operable. They have stainless hardware. They can be closed from inside the house. Storm bars are put on. That's a very convenient system. It also gives you the aesthetics of a functional shutter. And here in Charleston, a lot of people like the look of the raised panel shutter. It's a very historical area, so we try and, even though our materials are not historically accurate, the shutter does look historically accurate, and the materials last much longer.
What are those shutters made out of?
The shutters have a combination of aluminum, Lexan, which are polycarbonate, and a PVC.
So it's a composite, and so it's going to hold up to the weather and rain and so forth over the years, and isn't going to rot like wood shutters that you might find in downtown Charleston.
Yeah, our hurricane-rated Colonial Shutters and Bahama Shutters have a lifetime warranty. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so we've got the hurricane or the raised panel Colonials, and then there's a different type of hurricane protection product on the other windows. Tell our listeners, viewers, and readers about that.
Yeah, that's a much less expensive option. On this house, we have fabric hurricane panels, and if we do our job right, you have to look really closely at the house to even tell that it's been retrofitted for the for the installation of those panels. The fasteners that are in the house have to be tied into the structure of the home. So, some people, well, gosh, I don't want anything to show, but they have to understand that, there's no magic wand for this. It has to be attached into the structure. So we go through the trim, into the framing around the windows and doors. But the way that we've done this home is with some female stainless, they're called super screws. Those are in the framing of the house, and then we've painted the bolts that go over that, and they are flush with the trim. So unless you're looking for it, you don't even really notice it. And then those panels are stored either in the garage, the crawl space, or the attic.
Yeah, and I'm looking at some of the hardware that you're talking about, those super screws that is on the trim, and they really disappear from the street. But on the other hand, I'm the kind of guy that I notice these things on houses, and it's not a bad thing. It actually is kind of a badge of honor that says, hey, we're ready, we're protected. Unlike you always see those people in the on the Weather Channel. Hammering up the plywood, and they're drilling and drilling screws and hammering nails right into the trim, which is going to leave some marks and some issues afterwards when they take that down.
Absolutely. I actually worked at a lumber yard before I started my business when we had a couple of hurricane scares, and it's total chaos. And that was much earlier, before our population here in Charleston has grown nearly as much as it has, and there never seems to be enough of anything. So we were selling, $50–60 sheets of cabinet grade plywood, because all the OSB and rough, plywood had been, exterior plywood had been bought up. And you have folks who are not used to even getting on a step ladder trying to crawl up 24-foot, if they can find one, 24-foot extension ladders with heavy sheets of plywood, or God forbid they think that they're going to get anywhere with mass, tape, duct tape, which, by the way, while I'm talking about that does nothing other than cause a mess, so don't do that, and it doesn't help. But the plywood is just a big nightmare in every aspect.
All right. Well, we're going to have a quick word with the homeowner and just ask her about, why she chose those particular hurricane protection products from Windward Shutters and her experience. But before we do that, just give some contact information for our listeners, viewers, and readers.
Yeah. Well, we've been in business for 15 years, and we've experienced a good bit of growth in that period. So we've moved a bit. We started out in my a home I rented, in the East Cooper area, and then we moved to Ben Sawyer, and then Long Point Road, and then Wando Park Boulevard. Well, 2 years ago, we bought some property over off of Virginia Avenue in North Charleston, where we have a showroom and a shop and warehouse, and that's 4827 Virginia Avenue. Our phone number is 881-6262. That's 881-6262, and our website is windwardshutters.com.
Okay, great. Well, I appreciate you having us out here, Tim, and let's go ahead and have a word with the homeowner.
Sounds great. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Okay, now we're talking with Lindsay, the homeowner. Thanks for having us out today, Lindsay.
Sure, absolutely.
Well, Lindsay, you have a beautiful new house. You just moved in a few days ago, I understand. What would be going through your mind if a hurricane was threatening Charleston? Would you be worrying about having to, what would you be thinking about in terms of protecting your brand new house, your new investment?
Well, hopefully that doesn't happen anytime soon, since we just moved in, but as you can see, we're right near the water, and so the chance of that coming into the house and any debris that could come in would be disastrous. So I'm really glad that we have the fabric shield, so we can just pop up. We don't have to go buy boards and spend all of our time boarding up the house. We can collect all of our valuables from inside instead.
Terrific. And the raised Colonial Shutters, hopefully you won't have to use those for a hurricane, but they look beautiful on the outside of the house. And what do you think of them?
We're very pleased with how they turned out. The color is perfect. It's exactly what we picked out. It's very true to the sample that we had.
Good. Yeah, it's nice to have something that looks great and has a purpose that can help save the house too.
Absolutely. It's very functional and very easy to use.
Well, how's it been working with the folks with Windward Shutters?
They've been great. Anytime we have any problems, they said we can call them, and I believe them.
Terrific. Okay. Well, thanks so much, Lindsay.
Thank you.